What's up, everybody? Small room tonight. It's Monday. I mean, it is what it is. So, hope you guys are having a good evening. I hope the Monday, the start of the new week was pretty good. How am I coming through over there? I know someone mentioned that the music was loud. How does the mic sound? Can you even hear me? And if so, give me a good old thumbs up in the chat there. And we're just going to hang out and do some stuff, do some card stuff. Plans for tonight. We're going to keep the community ranking, super rare rankings thing going. But before we jump into that, we are going to try to make that a little more abbreviated because I think we all know the cards. They've been out for so long, the super rares for the Green Arrow and the Flash set, that we're not really going to mull over them a ton. We're just going to hop right into the voting. And before we do that, we are going to look at a couple of turn 4 win conditions. How do you win this game in 4 turns with the stipulation that your opponent cannot, under any circumstances, actually do anything? So it's more of like a thought experiment or like find lethal puzzle, if you've ever seen those from chess or really any competitive like card game. Those things have lethal puzzles. So that's kind of what the point of all this was. The crazier and the more fun you can make it, the better. And we're going to look at 2. I picked one that I thought was really ridiculously cool and very Rube Goldbergy. You kind of have to put it all together there at the end to hope for lethal. So I really liked that one. And then I'm going to put one down. I'm going to show you one that I thought up. I think it's actually a 3-turn win using Mr. Fixit in modern format. So we'll look at those, and then we will talk about Mr. Fixit itself and ask you if you think that Mr. Fixit is broken or really in need of errata. If you think it's in need of errata, we'll talk about that, and I'll share my opinions on that subject as well. And then we'll jump into the community stream. So first things first, let me transition over to this screen while I change the camera so that I can make this clear and visible for everyone to see the action down on my mat. You're going to see it kind of messy. I apologize. It may not be super easy to see at all times, but I'll talk you through what we got going on. Also, I should mention that if I cough furiously at any point, I apologize. I am going to try to mute it if I do, but I am feeling a little bit sick. I'm coming down with something. So I apologize in advance if I do a bunch of coughing at any point. Like, for example, I'm going to mute this mic so that I didn't have to let you hear my coughing. All right, so this first one is a bit of a doozy to talk through, and I didn't ask if I could mention his name on air, so I won't, but you know what? I'm just going to say it's from Jake. That's fine, right? Jake, you're okay with that if you're watching this? If not, then I apologize. I said your name on air. My fault. But this is a really, really cool 4-turn win condition that centers around the card I don't have, like a card I don't have. So let's pretend that this X23 is the super rare X23. In fact, I should even just pull up the super rare X23 and like read it to you because its ability is the way you win this game in 4 turns. And the ability for the super rare X23 is really, really cool. It's a card that I actually wanted pretty early on in that set, but never ended up getting it from the Deadpool set. Unfortunately, because I think it's a really fun, casual win condition that can be pretty crazy. So X23 is a 5-cost, super rare character with a 142, 253, 374 stat line, and says, when X23 attacks, roll all the dice in all players' prep areas. So over here, for each energy rolled, she gets +2 attack. And then count energy symbols, not the faces that show energy. So if, for example, you have a bat signal, like you would hope to have a bat signal. Wow, that camera's really white. What's going on? If you have a bat signal, like you'd hope, then if you see 2 shields on this bat signal, then you're getting +4 attack, which is really, really sick. And then once you're done with all of those, you return all of those dice to the respective prep areas. You don't actually get to spend them, but it's a pretty amazing win condition. So let's pretend that this is super rare X23. Over here we have Common Jade, who has a really cool ability that allows you to prep a die when she is KO'd, which is what we will be hoping to do here in a moment. We've got the rare bat signal, which is a 1-cost. We don't care about the ability because we're looking to do exactly what I just said, which is roll it for energy. Rip Hunter's Chalkboard, and this half of the team, including the basic actions, is all just like ways to make the thing work. So we have Rip Hunter's Chalkboard so that we can rip over our turn 1 and our turn 1 buy. I think that's what it is. We have Flesh Golem for Fabricate. We have Mysterio because of this sick Mysterio Global. If you've never played with the ASM set, I'll be honest, and this may not focus because of the camera. I'm sorry, you can't read it. I'll just read it to you. I don't have my camera on autofocus right now because it messes with the board. If you've never played the ASM set, there's not a ton of great cards, but the cards that are in this set, some of them are very interesting, and Mysterio's Global is one of those. It's on the common version, and it says, pay a mask. Once during your turn, each player may draw a die and prep it, which is really cool. So both of you and your opponent, get to prep a die, which helps in this win condition a lot using X23. We've got Heimdall Global. This is the promo Heimdall. We've got Resurrection, and we've got Villainous Pact. In fact, you actually don't need Villainous Pact on the current build of this ridiculously cool win condition. So let's get on with it. Bag is going over here. If you don't see anything on camera, it's because it's in bag. So the very first thing you want to do when in this 4-turn win is you want to roll this. Okay, you want to roll 3 energy, one of them being a bolt, and you want to roll a shield. Okay, the first thing you're going to do is chalkboard global, and then pay 3 to chalkboard over a jade. Right. You're going to rip that over, and then you're going to end your turn, of course, because you can't do anything else. And then on turn number 2, you are looking to roll something along the lines of this, so that you can Heimdall Global, taking 2 sidekicks out of your prep or out of your use pile and putting them in your prep area. And then you're going to spend 5 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, on X23. And from this point on, things get crazy, and like, you got to be super duper lucky, because your very next roll or draw has to be Jade, X23, 2 sidekicks. The rest of these sidekicks go in the bag. They're off over there. And then 2 more sidekicks. Okay, and I may have to in a moment actually look at the type up and make sure that I get this correct, because your goal here is to roll Jade on the 2-1 or the 2-2. Basically just get her on a fielding side that you don't have to pay for, right? So 2-1 or a 2-2. You're looking to roll her there. You need to roll X23 on level 1. You need to be able to pay 1 energy to field X23. And let me think through this really quick. Oh, you need a sidekick. It gets kind of crazy here in a second. So you need a sidekick, and you need to chalkboard over. Yes, that's right. Okay, and you need to chalkboard over a bat signal. So first things first, we're going to pay to field X23. We're going to field 2 more characters for the fabricate coming up next turn, and then we are going to chalkboard global, rip over a bat signal. Okay, so this is the setup. Turn 3. If you can get to this point, you're like insanely lucky, and it's about to get crazier luckier, right? So you pull the 4 dice from your bag. These are unused. And you're looking to roll a very specific combination of energy, of which I'm thinking you need to Heimdall, and you need to have this stuff, this is right. Okay, you need to roll basically this, and what you're going to do is you are going to Heimdall Global, right? Taking these 2 sidekicks over here. You're going to resurrect, getting this one over there, because there's nothing in your bag, so your bag is empty, so this will go into your bag, and it will come out of your bag, right? So we've got 3 so far. Then we need to Rip Hunter, a bat signal. Yeah, and then we have to fabricate. This is where things get interesting. So we're going to fabricate these 2 characters, Jade, who's a 3 cost, and a sidekick, to meet the fabricate 2/3 requirement of our flesh golem. He's got a 2/3, meaning you have to KO 2 characters of a combined 3 or more purchase cost. So you're going to finish the fabricate ability, thus allowing you to purchase this for free, and then trigger the when KO'd ability of Jade, which says when KO'd, draw a die and add it to your prep area. So looking in my bag, I'm going to draw a die. There's nothing there, so I refill the bag. This goes into the bag and comes out of the bag, which is bonkers cool. And then, oops, this is right. Then you buy a bat signal, your last one, and then you get to use this really cool Mysterio Global to prep a die, which is this die, and your opponent preps a die. And so at this point, you have a 4 attack X23. All right, here's your 4 attack X23, and you roll all of this that's in your prep area, and so does your opponent, so you're probably getting a buff for your opponents. right? And you're looking for any combo. Oh God, you're not looking for that at all. Okay, you're looking for any combination of energy that gets you to 20. So you would need, let's see, 2, 4, 6. You need 8 energy symbols, right? To get you 16 plus 4. Yeah, you need 8 energy symbols. Right here, we just low rolled hard for 3. But let's just pretend. Let's pretend we didn't low roll hard. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And if your opponent rolled any from their used pile, then all of a sudden you have 8. Now, again, and then you push, obviously, for 20 plus damage, depending on how well you roll. But you could max this out. Let's pretend you maxed this out for this amount. For you, this is 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 times 2 is 22 damage, plus 4 is 26 damage, and that's not counting whatever your opponent throws your way as well with regards to energy symbols when they roll from prep. So that is a 4-turn kill using some really insane Rube Goldberg-esque combos, which I think are super duper cool. I like that one. That one's fun. That's the kind of flavor that I was really hoping for when asking people to come up with this stuff. Not to say that like the people that submitted, so there are people that submitted the very, I wouldn't say very well known, but the semi well known meta 3 and 4 turn kills with stuff like Yonti and King Black Bolt and Guy Gardner and Big Entrance, that sort of thing. And those are cool. Those are definitely cool. And I will probably talk through a few of those at another time. But I really liked the idea of taking something just totally insanely unlikely and building around that. Speaking of which, actually changing gears completely, this is not unlikely in the slightest. This one's actually fairly easy to get to, and this is a turn 3 win condition. So if you didn't see James Blore on Facebook after I posted this challenge, if you will, he came and, or he posted on the Facebook groups and on his YouTube channel, he was very inspired by the idea of taking and, figuring out a 4-turn kill. So he took this Mr. Fixit, common Mr. Fixit, which I actually have on screen. Fancy me. Ready? See, I'm going to pop it up here. Where's it at? Boom. That Mr. Fixit. So he took this Mr. Fixit, right, which is the really insane cool one that when he gets damaged, he gets plus X attack equal to his attack value, his printed attack value on whatever side he's on currently. And he built a Golden Age combo around getting him out and dealing like 153 damage, which is awesome. Super sick, right? I wanted to try and come up with a modern version that gets there. It may not do that same number of damage. In fact, it won't do that same number of damage, but you really only need a couple of pieces to make this modern viable. Now, this is not Insect Plague right now, unfortunately, because the draft packs for the Thor set are really hard to come by, or at least they were for my area. We're pretending that this is Investigation. Investigation is a 3-cost action that says roll 2 dice from your bag, or just roll 2 dice and use the energy, whatever. Right, so draw and roll 2 dice, I think is what it says. It's a 3-cost action. We have the ever lovely, wonderful, super rare Malekith, which has a global that says, pay a bolt once during your turn, KO target character die you control. If you do, reduce the purchase cost of the next action die you purchase by 2. And we also have Rip Hunter's Chalkboard, and of course, to make it all work, to make the win condition happen, you have Magic Missile. Excuse me while I cough a moment. All right, so the way this one works, and this one's pretty straightforward. You probably already can work your way through this one, but we're going to talk through it anyway. So first thing you need is you need a sidekick. Let's pretend we got a sidekick. In fact, we'll just put that right back. We got a sidekick. Where are you? I can't even find it. You need a sidekick. You need a bolt. You need 1 random energy and 1 shield. So let's pretend this is our roll. That would be perfect. We're going to field the sidekick. We are going to activate the Malekith Global. We're going to pay the bolt. KO the sidekick, which is great for us. And now at this point, our action dice purchases are 2 less. So we can Rip Hunter's Chalkboard over an Investigation. Right? So at this point, we're going to end our turn, ending turn number 1, going into turn number 2. Remember, our opponent in this thought experiment can literally do nothing. so they just pass. We have 6 dice to roll, which is great because our goal here is to roll this not on the action face, but on the 2 generic face. If you roll it on the action face, it's actually not bad either. I'll show you the variance there. And we're looking for 6 other energy or 5 other energy, because at this point we want to chalkboard over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 our Mr. Fixit. So there he is. Boom, easy. Now, if you end up landing this bolt face, the action face, that's fine because you just roll and hope you get no sidekicks, and you end up with the same thing, which is 7 energy. As long as you don't land sidekicks on either of those rolls, 7 energy, with which you will pay and buy a Mr. Fixit. So let's put those back. I think the better line is not using it for that, because at this point, when we go to our next phase, we'll draw these 3 dice. Actually, scratch that. All of this will go down. And we'll have a 1 in 9 chance of drawing our wonderful little investigation. And if we do, we have a pretty nice little time. And if we don't, it's not the worst thing in the world. Because right here, we're looking for... This is just wonderful. This is peachy. We're looking for lethal. Lethal on the first roll. Look at that. So we're going to pay the 2 to field Mr. Fixit. And again, assuming your opponent has nothing in the field, because that's playing by the rules of this thought experiment, we are going to Magic Missile, which is going to give him +7 attack, which is the printed purchase cost, or the printed cost of his attack value on this side. So that's making him 14, and 1 more bolt will make him 21. So he's a 21-5 right now, and on turn 3 we can push for lethal, which is really cool, totally modern, possible, and altogether crazy if you can pull that off, and a lot of fun. So let's actually go through it and see if I can hit all the rolls, because that would be fun. So first things first, we just need, what do we need? Oh, we have it. Hey, sidekick. Malekith Global. Okay, the sidekick. Rip Hunter's Chalkboard, Investigation. Turn 1, done. We're a third of the way there, everybody. All right. Now we need all energy. We need a fist and a shield. So this needs to not come up as a sidekick. All right, no sidekick. No sidekick, sweet. So we are going to chalkboard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 our Mr. Fixit. All right, now I'm gonna actually reload the bag and see where this goes from here. Go away, dice. You should see my desk right now. It's totally a mess. Trying to get a setup where I can fit my computer screen and the mat and a microphone and a webcam is just a nightmare. Oh, no way. That's sick. Could it actually happen, ladies and gentlemen? That would be so sick. Rolling it up. Okay, no bolts. So it's very close, but no bolts. We can keep this. So the options here, if we keep this, then it gives us opportunities to roll bolts, but we get 1 roll at them. We get 1 roll at these as well. We probably just want to scoop everything and look for bolts on this turn, and if we get the 2 generic and miss the bolts, then it's game over anyway. So this is another way that you can build around this team. You can put the sidekick switcher that gives you bolts onto this team, and if this were the case, then we would have lethal right here, because we would just pay 2 to field there. We would switch this to a bolt, we would ping it, and we would ping it, and that would be lethal on turn 3. And that would, again, assuming your opponent doesn't have 1 sidekick in the field, which if you're playing against somebody good, hopefully they fielded 1 sidekick, because that would be the correct play, is to field any number of sidekicks, because on this team we have no way of giving Mr. Fixit Overcrush, which probably makes this whole setup worse. But it gives us a nice transition into this question. Do you think that this card, Mr. Fixit, is in need of errata? Do you think Mr. Fixit needs to be changed? Because I'll tell you my opinion. I do not. In fact, I would actively root for them to not change Mr. Fixit. And here's the reason why. This card is super duper powerful in casual. It's super duper powerful because it can do insane things and get super huge, right? It can get to bonkers numbers. I mean, what did James do? Like 156? That's crazy, right? But more often than not, it just gets countered hard by anything that's run, any control piece, really. Anything that's run in competitive. It gets outpaced by all the low drops. I mean, even everyone right now is talking about Yuan-Ti Pureblood Super Rare, which they should be because Yuan-Ti Pureblood Super Rare is probably in need of errata because right now it's pretty strong. And it was pretty strong when they announced it. Moving this out of the way. Oh, look, hello. Let me pull the camera up. So it gets outpaced by things that are fast like that. Hello, everyone. Hey. It gets outpaced by those kinds of things. And even if we're not talking that card, it gets outpaced by Norman Osborn. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that go faster than that card. And that's not a knock on, Mr. Fixit. I think Mr. Fixit is extremely well designed. I think he's easily countered by a ton of stuff that just wipes card text. I think he's countered by any globals that reduce damage or redirect damage, which you can find on basic actions. He gets countered by a lot, and he looks really scary, and rightfully so because his ability is really good overall. It's not good enough to compete in competitive. Now that's one aspect, so it probably doesn't hold its own weight in competitive. Okay, aspect number 2 is this. Is the card so broken that it makes it unfun to play with or against, right? Is it so broken that the card is no longer enjoyable, doesn't create an enjoyable game experience? And I would say no, partly because it is so slow-ish. Like I just showed you how you can win in 3, so I really shouldn't say it's slow. But it kind of is. I mean, unless you're playing super duper casual and everyone's putting together a theme team or something, overall it's generally pretty slow compared to stuff that you would run up in casual-ish. I mean, it's a heavy hitter too, but it's not so unfun that it sucks the joy out of the game, right? It's fun from your perspective to drop a 6-drop and do some crazy stuff. But at the same time, all your opponent needs is a blocker. And if they get a blocker, then they can at least survive or stay in the game. Not to mention if your opponent brings any sort of removal, any sort of capture mechanic, anything like Intimidate, any blanking, any Ronin shenanigans where you can soak up damage, any 7-cost giant Thor guy that can soak up damage. And all of those things can feasibly be run in a casual team. So I personally do not think that Mr. Fixit should be nerfed, should be errated, because to me it seems like he'd be pretty straightforward. It's kind of hard not to counter, honestly, and I think that's exactly the case. What do you do to lose to this? I guess you literally field sidekicks and ramp hard for 3 turns. And that's a 3-turn win without the ability to give it Overcrush, minus a card like Mary Jane from the ASM set, MJ, that gives non-villains Overcrush. And he is a non-villain, so that does fit. But really, it's not the end of the world to me. I think we should be much more concerned about the state of the game with regards to Yuan-Ti, over Mr. Fixit. So that is personally, I guess that's my opinion on this subject. So tell me what you think in the comments. Tell me what you think in the chat, and we can talk about it ad nauseum. Sweet. Shall we rate some cards? I think it's time to rate some cards. Let me switch over to this camera right here. So I am not huge on the super rares from this set. And the set I'm referring to, of course, is the, I don't have a screen for it, is the Green Arrow and the Flash set. So Green Arrow and the Flash came out, and I was particularly excited for this set when it was first released. I think this was one of the first sets that I sat down and actually did a card review or preview on, and I was kind of pumped for it. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be honest. And looking at it now, or looking back at this set, there were some really big letdowns. And surprisingly, I was really hard on this set for most of the time after it released. But looking back, there are some really great pieces. A lot of rares that popped out of this, or a lot of just like individual tech cards that popped out of this. I mean, even the bat signal that was on that previous team is from this set. Energy fixers obviously are total staples. As for super rares, however, let's take a look. So we have Barry Allen. Crossover characters. We should talk about crossover characters. Are characters with 2 energy. Barry Allen and let me switch over to him. Pop and the Green Arrow were sort of the titular super rares from the set, the ones that everyone could kind of guess what was coming with those, because obviously they're the name of the set. So you expected these. Unfortunately, to me, these are both bad. Katana, which was one of the standouts for me. Unfortunately, I did not pull her. I had to trade for her, but got her nonetheless. I like Katana a lot. Then we have all 4 of the White Lanterns, right? So here's White Lantern Batman. We've got White Lantern Deadman. And several of these are very interesting to me. And we'll, see how you guys feel about them. We have White Lantern Sinestro. Got White Lantern Wonder Woman, a true standout. And then finally we have super rare Zatanna, which is a very interesting ability that a lot of people were really big on. Personally, I wasn't as big on it just because it seemed like a lot to pay to trigger her ability. And it turns out that is the case. It is a lot to pay for her ability. And it doesn't do as much as you would expect, but it's still workable. And the fact that your opponent can't do it and you can is pretty cool. I'd like them to bring back synergy abilities, because I think that creates a lot of space for some cool stuff that you can do. Let me grab my keyboard so that I may pull up the straw poll stuff. Oh my goodness gracious. My keyboard's broken. Where's the little latch? Oh man, now I'm super sad. I love this keyboard. Oh, guys. This is the saddest of days. Oh man. That really kind of bums me out. Anyway, let me pull this up so that we can straw poll it up. Okay, this turn 4 wins can go away. Straw poll. Cough time. Oh, I hit the mute button, but it didn't mute. Sorry, everyone. I coughed in your ear. Green Arrow and the Flash. Poll links. See, this is what I need. All right, so taking an in-depth, closer look at each of these cards. Here, by the way, I know Mr. Fixit did. He killed it. And WizKids does hate the Flash, because that's just how it goes. So this first one we're going to look at, the first one we're going to vote on, Bop, transition, is Barry Allen, CSI, the 5-cost Bolt Fist crossover character who has Cross Pulse. Cross Pulse is an ability that when you pay the 5 purchase cost for him in only bolts and fists. Okay, so you have to pay in any combination of bolts and fists, but you have to at least pay 1 bolt and 1 fist. So you could do 4 bolts and 1 fist, or 2 bolts and 3 fists, that sort of thing. When you do that, then you get to use the effect, which is when you purchase this die, you may field him at level 1. And he's a 3/3 at level 1. So please go into chat and vote on that. Take your straw poll link, jump on over, and tell me how you feel about this card. Because I sat down and I ranked these for me, and I have it actually all set up and ready so that I don't have to wait, because last time I wasn't as organized. And that's just me. So again, you're voting for Barry Allen. If you click the wrong button, then I apologize. You cannot change your vote. So make sure you click the correct button. Shout out to you who know who you are. Shout out. Refresh results. Yay, people agree with me. We all agree, everyone. Okay. What does this say? Yeah, how does he not have fast? Okay, so I think this is something we should talk about. WizKids. The Flash. Let's talk about the Flash. WizKids. The Flash. His superpower is super speed. It's super speed, and we have a keyword called fast. And I think fast was around when this set came out, right? Yeah, like I didn't Speedy in this set have fast? And we've never given Barry Allen fast. We've given him fast-like abilities, so pseudo-fast abilities. We've given him stuff like that, but we've never just straight up said flash, fast. In fact, we've never even really printed a good Barry Allen or just a good flash card, which really bums me out a little bit. So let me pop this up so you guys can see what we have voted on. Where is that screen? I'll just have to create a new one. Window capture. This. Okay. Window capture. Straw poll. Okay. Here we are. The straw poll. Everyone take a look. This is how we feel about this card. And I couldn't agree more. This is a pretty bad card. To be able to just pay 5, and you have to pay 5 in a very specific way, which means you have to roll 4 bolts or 3 bolts and 2 fists, all just to get a 3/3. I'm not a fan. Let's just tell it like it is. Okay, I'll hit refresh one more time just in case more people have voted. Boop, and they have, and it looks like we just all kind of agree this is the second worst card. I think we are all going to agree on the worst card too. Here, let's talk about Green Arrow. Green Arrow is a 6-cost mask shield crossover character. 1/5/1. He's a 5/1, a 6/2, and a 7/3. He's a glass cannon. And his ability is also a cross pulse because they just decided it would be a good idea to make bad cards in this set. And bad super rares in this set. Here's the straw poll, by the way. And his ability says, it's actually kind of interesting. When you purchase this die with the correct energy symbols, deal 2 to all opposing character dice. So not a bad ability, right? Generally not a bad ability in comparison to you get this 3/3. At least it pings the board, but you're still having to pay 6, and you're still having to pay 6 in an uncomfortable way, which kind of sucks. So go ahead and jump into the straw poll and vote how you feel. Vote your conscience. Tell me what you think. I will tell you that I have voted, as has 2 others. So pop on in there and vote. We're actually kind of split on this one thus far. There's 3 different votes on 3 different positions. See, it's a cool ability, right? You buy him. I mean, you don't get him, but you deal 2 to everything on your opponent's board. The unfortunate thing is you have to buy him with mask, 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 shield, shield, or shield, 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 mask, 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 or any combination of just shields and masks, and you have to pay 6, which is just asking way too much to deal 2 to the board, right? We can deal 2 to the board in several different ways, especially here in Modern with a couple of these new sets, and all of them are easier than this current setup. So I'm not a big fan. Not a big fan of this card. And here's what we think as sort of as a group. So 3 people say 6th, 2 people say 8th, and 1 person says 7th. Refreshing, 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 refreshing. Get some people to come and vote with this. That'd be fun. I voted 6th as well, so hop on the bandwagon alongside me, because I do think this is better than the other one. Yeah, if it was a 4 cost, this would be a lot better, right? You just paid 2 and 2, or 1 and 3, right? That makes so much sense. And you deal 2. The fact that you can run 4 of him too and make that purchase cost a 4 would be awesome and decently playable. I mean, you wouldn't put this on most things. I think he's sort of a Hail Mary when you're having to clear a board because you need to roll exact specific things, but overall it's not the worst thing in the world. All right, back to Katana. Katana is a 3-cost mask character with the affiliation that no one cares about, and she's a 2/1 and a 2/2 and a 3/2, a 1/3/2, and she has Impulse, which is a much cooler ability than Cross Pulse because Cross Pulse requires you to pay the exact energy. She just needs to be purchased. Whenever you purchase a Katana die, if you spent a question mark on her, you can immediately field her at level 1 for free. as we know on this channel and just in the Dice Masters community as in general, this card can be very good on King Black Bolt because she's a 3-drop. You buy Nowhere. You Nowhere in Katana after you purchase Katana with a question mark. So you get her in the field, then you Nowhere her out and bring in King Black Bolt on turn number 3, which is awesome, and it totally works. And it's fairly consistent because it's not hard to purchase her when you just have to roll a question mark, right? And you can even just purchase her and let her kind of go through or rip her over. There's a lot of options. Yeah, basically, she's great with all Nowhere teams. Like, she's a great option to get a 3-drop out there, pay 3 plus a Resurrection or a Rip Hunter to get your guaranteed roll on turn 3 of Nowhere, and then you just Nowhere her out and Nowhere really anything you want in. That's a 4-drop, so she can get White Lanterns, she can get What If Super Rares that are 4. She's really cool, and I shouldn't keep hyping her up because that tells you my bias towards this card. So we should just vote. Let's just vote. Oops, did I press the wrong thing? Did I send this? Send. Click. All right. Show us what you got, Katana. And the fact that she is playable is a great, great thing. A card that is playable so far certainly trumps the other two that we've kind of graded on. All right, so hop in and vote. Let's see what we got. 3 cost is perfect for her, and the ability and this ability in the stat line. I think she is extremely well designed. I think the fact that she costs 3 and that she has a 3/2, which is not overpowered. If she were a 4/3, this would be kind of a broken card. Not broken. I shouldn't say broken because that's really not, in my opinion, the case. She wouldn't be broken, but she would be very powerful. And the fact that you could flood the board with her fairly easily makes a 3/2 on her top side, but most of the time a 2/1 because she's coming in on her level 1. Not bad. She's almost like, if she were a 2-drop, this would be sick. This would be really cool because you get a bunch of 2/1s really quick. Being a 3-drop, getting a bunch of 2/1s is still okay, but you're not as incentivized to purchase a bunch of them as you would be if she were a 2-drop or if she had a higher stat line on her level 1 side. But I think overall this is a really, really well-designed card, and I think it's very perfectly balanced. And so we think this. We'll refresh it again. 4 votes for most powerful, 1 vote for second most powerful, 1 vote for third most powerful. So she's kind of sitting atop the leaderboard. I agree with you guys. I think she is one of the better ones in the set. Cough time. White Lantern Batman. So White Lanterns are very similar to the What If Super Rares. You have to pay 1 of each energy type to purchase, or you Katana and Nowhere in the White Lantern, which is, sick. He's got a 1/4/4, 1/5/4, 2/6/5 stat line, the Batman right here. Obviously, you can't use question marks to purchase him. And he's got a really cool, interesting ability that says while he's active, once per turn, when you roll a 2 question marks, that's what it is. It's hard to read from my perspective. When you roll 2 question marks during the roll and reroll step, gain 1 life, draw and roll a die. So you are hoping for question marks while he's active, but if you get one, you gain a life, which is okay. I mean, it doesn't really do much in this kind of a game because you have such low life already. But it can trigger once each turn, so you can gain a life each turn. But the more important thing is you draw an extra die and roll it, which is pretty cool. And you're getting a 6/5. So it's not an earth-shattering, ground-breaking ability, but it provides some form of ramp and just value in general. So there is that. Yes, when Katana rotates out, I will be sad too, because she is one of the cards that I really enjoy from this set. I don't think it breaks really too many teams. I mean, yes, you want a 3-drop really fast to Nowhere out and Nowhere in a 4-drop, but I don't think there's a ton of non-casual teams running around out there that really need Katana outside of King Black Bolt. And I think you could honestly just, with King Black Bolt, you're honestly just able to bring a 3-cost character with a tune and do the exact same thing. Instead of purchasing Katana, you can just field the 3-drop attune character on turn 2 after you prep it with Rip Hunter's Chalkboard or anything like that. Go in the comments and vote on the card that we just... Did I post it? Did I post it already? No. Yes, I did. Yeah. And what did I think of this one? That one. Sound Off. Is this card the best? White Lantern Batman is the best or the worst or somewhere in the middle? Let's refresh. See if we can get the same amount of votes as before. Let's double check all of our numbers. We're all hovering around the same amount. Yeah, on votes, which is good. Each one of these about the same amount of votes. So White Lantern Batman, you guys think this, the 5th best. Overall, we think the 5th best of this set. We need one more vote to make it even with the others. So if someone has not voted and you want to come chime in, please do, because you can tell us what you think. If you think it is, the best, the least powerful, the 5th, the 4th, the 3rd. Overall, though, it looks like we think the 5th. We're really kind of slotting these pretty easily. Majority is sort of taking control, which is kind of cool. It means we don't have to do much in the way of number crunching, which I'm all about. Number crunching, man. No thanks. All right, White Lantern Deadman. White Lantern Deadman is another 4-cost pay all the energy characters White Lantern. He has a cool ability, too, that says while he's active when your opponent uses a global ability, he takes 1 damage, or they take 1 damage. So if they ping your Mr. Fixit for some reason, if they do that, then your opponent takes 1 damage as well. Or if they Heimdall Global, then your opponent takes 1 damage. This one is really cool, in my opinion. The fact that he can just sit out there and require some sort of an answer means that he does something for you. Obviously, you can't control when your opponent uses a global, so he's not really a win condition. But pretty cool. When you roll perfect with King Black Bolt team, you do damage on turn 3. It's kind of just soul-sucking. No, I love it. You kidding me? No, I love it. That's why I brought it to that tournament. It was so much fun. It's a good feeling to just play a rushdown team sometimes, like a burnout team. I like it. I like it a lot. This is definitely the best White Lantern Batman out there. 100%. There's not a better one out there. All right, Deadman. Vote on Deadman. Place your votes. Ooh, this one is split. It is interesting. So I think this has some value to it. Let's see how many votes we have so far. Vote in the comments. Follow the link. Link is posted in the comments and take a vote. Interesting. Interesting. This is the first one in a long time that it looks like my vote is going to, what did he say? Disagree with the majority, which is kind of cool. I'm totally fine with disagreeing with the majority. We've got 4 votes thus far. Let's get up to 6 would be awesome. Tell us what you think about this card. So, White Lantern Deadman. Here we go. I'm just going to pop it up there. We can take a look and refresh it together. So, White Lantern Deadman right now is being voted the 4th best card. So 4th out of 8, obviously. And looking at the ability itself. Oh, no. Yeah, there we go. That's correct. Looking at the ability itself of White Lantern Deadman, the fact that it keeps your opponents from using globals, which is something that is extremely important in competitive scenes, or even just casual, just preventing them from ramping without taking damage is pretty awesome. And it also preventing them from taking 3 damage when they use a cube is pretty cool, because cube is kind of a thing if you have just gotten into Dice Masters. Cosmic Cube is pretty sick, so your opponent has to either accept the damage and activate the globals before using the cube, which is the smart thing to do, or if they misplay, then they take 3, which is a possibility. So I think this has some merit in the current meta. 4, 3, 6. So 4th. All right, let's keep moving. Over to this card. No, not this card. This card. No, this card. Transition. The 3rd White Lantern Sinestro. Again, White Lanterns, blah. You get the picture at this point. I think he's got a 2-3, 3-4, and a 3-6 stat line. And his ability says that... is that what his ability? No, his stat line's different. I was reading the other screen. A 2-3, a 3-3, and a 5-5, which is a decent stat line. This is one I actually pulled, which is pretty cool. His ability says, while he is active, when your opponent rolls energy faces with multiple energy, they must immediately spin those dice to single energy faces if possible. So, in other words, looking at me now. Look at me. If your opponent rolls this, it immediately goes here. Right? That makes sense. If they can. Let me think of an example where that wouldn't be the case. They must... I can't think of an example where it wouldn't happen. If they roll multiple energy face on a die, throw one in the chat. Is there an example that you can think of where someone rolls multiple energy, but they can't spin it down to the single energy side? I can't think of any reason why that wouldn't be the case. But this totally controls your opponent's rerolls, rolls, all that sort of thing. Because I think it happens just in general. It's not even just on their roll and reroll step. So this is really, really cool control piece. Basic actions? I guess that counts as 2 energy symbols, right? Multiple energy symbols. That's too generic though. I don't know. Does that count? That's what I was thinking. I couldn't tell. All right. White Lantern Sinestro's voting page is now open. It's too generic, so does that count as 2 multiple energy symbols? I'm not sure. Now, I personally think I would position this somewhere different than I voted originally, so I may change my vote. But it looks like, oh, it's just me that's voted. Hey. Ooh, someone thinks this is the most powerful. White Lantern Sinestro thinks most powerful on this one. That's interesting. Let's see what everyone else thinks. I do think it has a ton of merit, and it's really good on control side of things. I think the 4 energy types, having to pay each energy type to purchase it sucks. Makes it really hard to get to if you're not running Nowhere. And so in order to do that, you'd have to run a 3-drop. You'd have to run Nowhere. And you'd have to run this card, all to be able to spin your opponent's dice down to 1 single energy. So I don't know if that's worth it that much. And I think therein lies the issue with all White Lanterns. Is the ability has to be super duper. Did it not? Sorry, I distracted everyone. Cerebro? The old Cerebro didn't have a single energy phase? I have to look this up now. That's amazing. I want to see this. Oh, good. I have it pulled up right here. What? Let's see. Prove it. Prove it. UXM. Cerebro. Oh my good Lord in heaven. You are 100% right. That is bonkers. Oh my gosh. Guys, look at this. I don't know if it'll show up. Look at this. You see, there's no single energy side. Diego coming in with the knowledge. Look at this. Everyone look at the chat. Everyone clap for Diego. This guy, that's like encyclopedic over here. Is that a way to describe someone? Should be. Nice job, man. I had no idea that even existed. Why did I never know that? Dude, everyone should just run that. Are you serious? What? Bring in magnetism too? I'm getting so distracted and I don't even care because this is amazing that I didn't even know this about this game. Ring, okay. Yeah. Where? Oh my Lord. Oh, it's so true. You guys. See, you guys. This is why it's a community stream. Because you guys bring in the knowledge. I love it. I had no idea. That's amazing to me. So I imagine, okay, so that makes total sense then why they would print it like that. Okay, there you go. Does that change your vote? That's the question. Does that matter? Whoa! Oh my goodness. Is this like... Look at this, everyone. Look at this. Go to the thing. Look at this. We are all over the board on this one. 4, 4, 1, 2, 5, 6. Wow. We cannot agree on this card. That's super interesting, though. That is really, really interesting. 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're 6 in. Let's do the last two. Let's see what happens. Last two. Haha. The next one. Here we go. The next one. Let me just kind of get rid of this real quick. Boop. The next one, White Lantern Wonder Woman. Life endures. So she's a White Lantern. Okay. A White Lantern. She's a 3/4, a 4/5, and a 5/6, which is not bad for 4. Not bad. And she has the ability that's Impulse. Okay, so remember, Impulse means when you buy this die, use the ability. And it only happens when you buy her. So when you buy her, you can KO a target character die. KO it. They're going to have to re-roll that sucker next turn. Next turn. That's some next level stuff. And you can use this ability exactly one time if you roll a bolt, a fist, a mask, and a shield. And if you thought you could nowhere this in, you can't. You really can't. You could nowhere it out, though, which would be kind of cool. And then purchase it. So you like pay 4, field it, KO. No, because you pay 4, and then it KOs something when you buy it. And then you nowhere it out to put it back on the card so that you could buy it again. You could do that. I mean, there's that. I think we got the plan. I think this should be now to argue against the the crappiness of this card. Villains are really good in this meta, and really just period. Villains are really good. The best villain in the game is also Control Piece in Shriek. So you can KO Shriek. You could KO the Blob, if that starts to becoming a thing. Except the part where you just have to pay 4 different energy types and hope it happens on any turn that matters. It's funny until it gets sad. It gets real. It's a great little card right here, man. All right, let's see what we think. Really? No, you guys are just starting to be silly now. There's no way that this is the 6th best card. What do you put below? You put the two named. Really, the 6th best? An ability you can use one time if you roll 4 different energy types versus like a 5 draw. So what I'm assuming is that we're putting Barry Allen and Green Arrow below this, right? Cough time. And if you're assuming that, if I'm assuming that correctly, you're saying that pay 4 all different energy types, one time KO something, a villain, like a Control Piece, is better than Cross Pulse 5, get a 3/3. Well, now that I'm saying it, I'm not actually totally against it. Or Cross Pulse 6, deal 2 to everything. I mean, I'm personally of the opinion that this card is terrible, but so are the other two. So it really, I mean, I'm really torn between the fact that both of these cards suck, or all 3 of those cards are terrible. So really, I guess it's up to you. And we think it's split down the middle. More I think about it, actually, you guys might not be wrong. You get 1 KO. You do it at like a time where you really need it. Energy fixers make it easier, kinda, to get the 4 different energy types. Oh man, it's okay. It's just as hard to roll 4 different energy types as it is to roll 6 and fix. I don't know. It's a toss-up. Moving along to the last one. Let's talk about an actual decent card. Zatanna. I'll make the other stuff go away so we don't get that stupid ring. There you go. It's still there. Zatanna has the synergy ability. She's a 3-cost fist mask character, which is weird. She's a 1/1, a 2/2, and a 1/3/3, which her stat line's terrible for a 3-drop. Especially the 1/1 side is awful. She's got the synergy ability, and she has to be active when you use it, so you can't just run her and one die. You have to actually purchase her and use it. But you can pay a fist and a mask, and when you do, you reroll all opposing sidekicks in the field zone and the reserve pool. And then you deal damage to your opponent for each of the other dice that, or each of those dice that roll a fist and a mask. So, which is cool because you can use it on your opponent's turn if they don't field any sidekicks. They still count for rolling sidekicks. They can't get rid of it before they pass priority to you. Only you can use this ability, so your opponents can't use this ability. All in all, really interesting ability that deals damage and can act as a win condition, kind of, if you field a bunch of sidekicks, which is something that we can do now that we have rare Professor X. You can totally get a bunch of sidekicks via that, which is pretty cool. Yes, exactly. The sending Wonder Woman back to her card and purchasing her again would be sick. I like it. I like it. Uh-oh, I voted already in this poll. What? I did not vote in this. Oh, I'm on the wrong screen. Boom, boom, boom. Click. Click, click. Hey, we got 4 votes in. I want to see more people vote on these. I'm gonna post the straw poll links in the comments or in the comments of the video once it's done streaming and rendering, and then other people that watch this can totally go in and vote based on what they see in the chat that you guys are saying, and anything that might be coming out of my mouth, whether that's good or bad. I leave that to you. Zatanna, how do we feel about Zatanna? So it's a workable ability. I have a friend who sometimes plays Dice Masters. I say sometimes because he hasn't played in a while, which is fine. It's up to you. Who has Zatanna, super rare Zatanna, and he put it on a couple of teams, and every time he bought it, he lost. And not because the card's terrible, but because you're investing 3 energy so that you can use a one-sided global that you have to pay 2 for, just to re-roll a bunch of sidekicks, which can clear up blockers, certainly. But you're basically investing 5 energy and waiting around for it to come up before it actually does anything. And so it just ends up being really slow. That being said, the ability is totally workable in comparison to some of these, which I think is an important distinction to make. And this is how we feel about it. Consensus vote of the second best of the set, which is coincidentally what I voted as well. I think this is the second best. Though, the more I talk about a few of these, the more I think, there's a few that could contend. So overall, I think we can kind of break this down by these majorities. Katana, consensus most powerful. No one else has voted on that. So 4 votes as the number 1. I think consensus Zatanna, number 2. Why are these duplicated? Go away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yes, we have all of them. Sinestro is a total toss-up. Who got 3? Was there a 3? A consensus 3? No. So we would actually have to sit down and kind of calculate. Deadman probably gets the 3. Looking at all of these. Yeah. Deadman looks like he's, if I average all of these out, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 3, 3, 6. That would be a lower total than 4, 4, 1, 2, 5, 6. So if these two were competing, which it looks like they are, it would look like Deadman would probably win. Just to really quickly, I'll do the math between those two, because it looks like those are really the only 2 cards that are really pushing for third place kind of thing. 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 3 plus 6 plus 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, divided by 6. Okay. And then, so we're looking for beating higher than 4.5 or lower than 4.5, because Deadman average is a 4.5. We got 4 plus 4 plus 1 plus 2. I think the 1 and the 2 might actually carry it over. Plus 5 plus 6. Yeah, oh, yeah. Oops. Oh, that was correct. Cool. So White Lantern Sinestro is the consensus 3rd place, followed by White Lantern Deadman in 4th, followed by White Lantern Batman in 5th solidly, followed by a real toss-up of either White Lantern Wonder Woman or Green Arrow. Probably, because there's 3 votes here for White Lantern and Wonder Woman. So it's probably Green Arrow, followed by either Barry Allen or the Flash. Let's do the numbers on these 2. Sorry, bumped the mic. 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 6 plus 6. 40. And then versus 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8. 42. So yes, Wonder Woman is solidly in last place. 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 8 plus 7. Yep. So that's the order. So the order is in order of best to worst. Let me see if I can show this easily. I don't think I can very well. No, I cannot. There's not an easy way to do this. Not with the setup that I have. So number 1, Katana. Number 2, Zatanna, because, you know, we wanted to make this easy. Number 3, I have to find where he is. Sinestro, where you at, bro? Come on. Thank you. There he is. Sinestro in with number 3, followed closely behind with number 4 of White Lantern, Deadman, followed closely behind with White Lantern, Batman, who exists on some plane somewhere. Good Lord. And there he is. Here we go. White Lantern Batman at number 5. Number 6 was the wonderful Green Arrow. Number 7 was good old Barry Allen. And number 8. Number 8. Where'd she go? The one that everyone expected to be number 8, which is White Lantern Wonder Woman. So those are the orders. Post your personal order in the comments below. Feel free to sound off with what you think is your order. I'm going to post my order. This is the order that I gave. And looks like the only difference between how it panned out and how I voted was... oh, that's really badly formatted. Sorry, everyone. Was the flip of White Lantern Deadman and White Lantern Sinestro. And looking at it more than, you know, just what I did when I sat down to do this list, I think I actually would switch them. I think you guys are right. I think the majority on that one is correct in that White Lantern Sinestro is just more powerful than Deadman. Even though Deadman makes up a nice little pinging damage thing, I think the control of Sinestro is probably a little bit more worth your energy than direct. Well, I don't know. That one was the closest one, so you could argue it both ways. Arguing it both ways, that's the way we should be doing here. That's why we're hanging out. Okay, so tell me, since this is the end of the community stream, tell me what would you like to see changed about this whole process. Do you want to keep doing these community card reviews? If so, what set would you like to do? So yes or no, and then tell me what set. Would you like to hang out on a different day? Is there a better day? Is Monday bad? I do Monday because I think it's a good place, a good way to kind of kick back off the work week. But if people like weekends, we can hang out on a weekend as long as I'm not out of town. I think the nice thing, too, is I know I'm going to be in town on Monday. There's a 100% chance that I will be in town on a Monday, so boom, it's like easy to do. And this is the 3rd week of doing this in a row, or is it 4th now? It's the 3rd week of doing it in a row, so I'm looking forward to week number 4. I think after 3 times of doing something, it becomes a thing, right? So community stream's a thing now. How exciting. Team Brew segment, I like that. Yes, I always say Tomb of Annihilation. Tomb of Annihilation would be cool. Ooh, I like this idea. So we pick a card and build a team around it. We will do that. We'll pick a card and build a team. We should all. You guys want to do another? Because there were a lot of interesting submissions overall for the turn 4 kills. I think if people start thinking that more creative, like this is never going to hit, but let me put all the pieces around it that I need to get to 20 with, then I think we could come up with some really cool things. As for killing your opponent in 4 turns. So I would put Kate Bishop on a turn 4 kill team if you could, or just build around her like in this brewing segment that we're talking about. So I think we do that. We brew. I think we turn 4, and I think we vote. Does that make sense? I wanted to talk about control cards too, but we'll talk about that next week. and the way that they function in this game and how it's different fundamentally from other games. And how this game kind of differs just in general from deck-based games. Sorry, got a little tired there. Build around the rare kiln. That'd be fun. Yeah, let's do that. Now, is there a better day than Monday? Are there people out there that don't want to meet on Mondays that would prefer a different day? I mean, I'm all for Mondays, but then again, it works with my schedule pretty well. So, I mean, shout it out, throw out what you think. It's not the worst thing in the world to switch, but if it's on a day that I can't do, then it makes it kind of hard, right? I'll press the stream on and you guys just go. It is a community stream after all, so sweet. Let's talk in the comments. Actually, we can talk here, but I'm going to hit the end of the stream now. We'll talk in the comments, something like that. All right, you guys, have a good evening, and I'll see you later.